We're very excited today. We've got Tom Burton as a speaker, and Tom is going to be delivering the webinar. Tom is a partner at SunWest Ventures, located in the San Diego area. He has over a decade of experience working with both large and small businesses, which includes many dental practices, by the way, on their digital marketing strategies and campaigns. In addition to that, Tom is also the co-founder of LeadSmart Technologies. LeadSmart is a unique and modern CRM system, customer relations management system that enables your marketing and sales activities to be digitally tracked and visualized with the goal of driving more leads and more revenue. So, Tom, great to have you here. Going to pass it over to you for the webinar. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Alan, and welcome everybody. Hopefully I can get the slides here to change properly. 1 second, because everything seems to be frozen up a bit here. And I don't know why. Okay, technical glitches right out of the bat. Let's try this again here. Well, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, let me make sure that, I don't know why the slides are not changing, but we'll get them to change one way or the other. So welcome again, everybody. As Alan said, I've been working in the digital marketing space for quite some time. And specifically, I've worked with a lot of big and small companies and worked with a lot of dental practices over the years. So what we want to talk about is kind of two different strategies for marketing and lead generation. And then I'm going to give you a lot of examples on that as we go forward. So there are two ways to generate leads. One is what's called inbound. And what that is that when somebody is searching for you, right? So if somebody is searching for either researching options or looking at different options for different services, let's say they're looking for cosmetic dentistry or teeth whitening or general dentistry or whatever, and they're looking online and they're researching options. Those are one sort of scenario. The second scenario is a lot of people will try and get self-educated on different procedures. So again, I'll use teeth whitening as an example. They may go and find out what are teeth whitening options and what's the benefit of doing it professionally versus buying a kit or whatever the case may be. Again, they're searching and they're looking for those things. And then the third situation is they're looking for in this case, when we're talking about a dental or a dental practice for an immediate need. So they've already done their research and now they actually want to find somebody that provides the service that they're looking for. And today I'm going to focus on this third scenario on how we actually go about making sure that when somebody is looking for a practice or for an immediate need, they're doing that right away. The second scenario that we'll talk about is what about, how do we get ourselves out in front of people that aren't necessarily looking? And that's called outbound marketing or an outbound strategy. And in this case, we're initiating it by the practice versus initiating it by the patient. And there's four or so different strategies that we can focus on when we're doing outbound strategies. We can just try and be getting more of a brand awareness of our practice and our services. We can be trying to generate actual leads for specific services. We can be spotlighting a certain expertise that we may have, or we may be spotlighting customer testimonials. Today, what I'm going to focus on is lead generation, because I know a lot of people or a lot of practices are very interested in getting new leads, especially for potentially cosmetic or higher ticket services. And I'm going to show you some examples of how you can do that, predominantly using social media and Facebook in particular. And I'll show you an example of a lead generation campaign that we did for another client here as part of this. So this is what we're going to be focusing on is the, how we can generate leads with Google, which is inbound, and outbound using Facebook and the pieces there. And I'm still not getting the slide to change here, so I will switch them this way, which is very archaic, but hopefully still working. So let's talk about Google and inbound leads first. And I'm going to get into examples here in just a minute, but I want to kind of set the stage so that we all know what we're talking about here. When you Google something, when you go to Google and you put in a keyword and you put in, as I'm going to show you in a minute, teeth whitening, you're going to get three types of search results. You're going to get what's called paid results, local results, and organic results. And I'm going to show you what each of those are here in just a minute. What we're going to focus on in our conversation today is the local results. So let's actually go ahead and jump over there. And you should be seeing my browser now. If you're not, if anyone's not seeing the browser here, let me know. But now I'm on Google. And let's say that I went in and I typed in teeth whitening dentist. So I'm in actually Orange County right now, Orange County, California. So I'm going to be getting things that are more specific to the Southern California, Orange County area. Now, what you see here is, first of all, there's three, again, that we talked about, three types of results that are showing up on this first search page. The first ones up here are all the paid results. And where it says add next to each of these things, what this means is that these companies have paid Google, as you probably know, to be displayed here on this search result page when somebody put in teeth whitening. So these are called the paid ads. If I scroll down, you'll see here this box here with the map on here. These are called the local listings. And what this is that Google is looking for what they believe or they are the most relevant, in this case, practices locally that should be displayed here. And I'm going to explain how they do that and the reason behind that here in just a minute. And then the third is the organic listings, which are down here below. And there's all kinds of organic. Here's one for a specific company. And you start to see Yelp and some YouTube videos and some other companies and so forth here. These are the organic listings that are here. Now, you may be wondering, okay, well, which ones are the most important, right? Which ones should I be really caring about? Well, for the most part, and this is that very few people, relatively, less than 20% of the people will even click on or look at the paid ads. And I don't know, you can think about what you do when you search for something on Google, but unless it's something where it's an emergency, and let's say if they were searching for emergency dentist, or I always say if you're looking for a plumber or something where you need something right now, right this second, most people tend to disregard the paid ads here at the top because they don't consider them to be as trustworthy or as useful as, let's say, the local ads or the local placement, the local results or the organic results. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on strategies for using paid ads in your search today. That's not really what we're going to focus on. But for the most part, to get across is there's a time and a place to use these, and there's a time and a place not to, because it can get quite expensive. Really, what we want to focus on is how do we get ourselves ranked in these local listings for keywords that we want to be ranked for. In our case, or in this example, teeth whitening, or possibly cosmetic dentist, or if there's specialty work that you do, or whatever, there's a whole bunch of keywords. We want to be ranked right here in these local listings. And you say, why do we care about that? Well, the reason is that people consider these listings, A, very trustworthy. Two, they very much spotlight the practice here. So people find them very credible. And really, probably about 50 or 60% of the click-through will be done on these local listings, even more so than the organic listings. The other thing to keep in mind is that many people are looking and searching on a mobile phone. And when you're on a mobile phone, your real estate is even much smaller, and these always show up at the top. So these always show up right after the paid ads, and very few people on mobile will even go past these local listings. So what we want to focus on is how do we get ourselves onto these local listings here. And there's kind of three things that we want, or few things that we need to do to effectively make sure that we're on those local listings. The first is that you need to, for your practice, make sure you have completed your Google business listing. So if you go to google.com/business, probably most of you already have a business listing with Google, or you had your web person or your marketing person set that up. I highly recommend revisiting it and making sure it's complete. Google's added a lot of things to it, even in the last few months. There's more information you can put in there. There's more details you can put in there. So complete your Google business listing to the best of your possible ability. This is one of the most important things that you need to do in order to be ranked in those top 3 positions that we just saw for the local listings. So that's the first thing you want to do. If you don't have a Google listing already, then you want to get that for sure. But like I said, probably most of you have created one, but it was probably a while ago and it may not be fully up to date. So you want to make sure that it's fully up to date. The second thing is you want to get what's called consistent local citations and directory listings. And you say, well, what the heck is all that? Well, what that is let's say then I were to go and Google the Elegance Family Dentistry. So let's say I just wanted to find out more about Elegance Family Dentistry. And I just typed in their name here. What you're going to see here, where you see all these like MapQuest and directories and Yelp, and if I scroll down here, Search Shop Irvine, Angie's List, reviews, these are all local directories that are local to the Southern California, predominantly probably Orange County area. And what you want to do is you want to make sure your practice is in every one of the relevant, and there's probably, and I would suspect in Orange County, between 30 and 40 relevant directories that you would want, and if you were in Orange County, that you would want to be listed in. And you say, well, God, that sounds really tedious and hard. Yeah, it's not something you really want to do yourself. There are services to do this. For example, you can Google a company called Moz, M-O-Z, Moz Local. They have a service where they will do this for you. I think it's less than $100. I don't know exactly what it costs, but it's not expensive. And they will go through and help you make sure that all of your local directory citations are in place. But one thing that you really, really, really want to make sure that they keep in mind, and you keep in mind when you're doing that, is that everything is consistent in the other local directory listings than what is consistent here in your Google listing. So this little box here on the right comes from the fact that Elegance Family Dentistry has a Google business listing like we just talked about. So the address that they put here, the phone number, even down to like where it says Suite A2, what you wouldn't want to do on another listing is put like # or number A2. Everything needs to be exactly the same on all of your local directory listings as it is here in your Google business listing. If it isn't, Google can get confused and you actually end up losing, so to speak, the power associated with having all of your local listings on the same piece there. So what I normally do is I tell people, go through, get your Google business listing exactly the way you want it, even with hours and phone numbers and everything the way you want it. And then when you go to a company to help you set up your local citations, you tell them exactly what you want them to put in each of those, and then they will make sure that everything is consistent. And the reason that this is important is that Google looks at if your business and your practice is properly represented on a lot of local directories and you're properly represented in Google, then you must be relevant and important. If you don't take the time to get yourself on these directories and you don't properly set up your Google business listing, then they consider you to be maybe potentially a little less relevant, and that's going to move you down inside those local listings. And remember, what our goal is here is to be in the top 3 of these local listings. The next thing, okay, now how did that happen? Sorry, I'm going to have to go back, and this is not cooperating nicely. So the next thing on the list here is you want to get a lot of Google reviews. And the reason is because Google considers their reviews relevant and important. Now you say, well, I have a lot of Yelp reviews or I have a lot of Facebook reviews. That's good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the weight of the Google reviews is going to give you more value on your search listings than your Facebook and your Yelp reviews. So what you want to do is you want to start, and again, we could do a whole webinar on this by itself, but what we want to do is we want to start getting as many Google reviews from your patients and clients as possible. And if you notice, if I go back again over here, right, so this one has 57 reviews. This one isn't great, it's 16, so they must be doing some other things well to get ranked here. This one has 34. I would immediately, if you're in a larger city in particular, or a larger metro area, I would want to see, target to get at least 50 Google reviews. But if you can get 100 or whatever, that's great. Don't worry that they're not all 5.0. If they're in the 4s, that's totally fine. In fact, it's okay to have a couple of reviews that are people, considered a bit more real when there's reviews that are not 100% perfect. But do everything you can to get Google reviews. And you can, again, Google and say how to get more Google reviews or how to get links for my business to get Google reviews. So you could just give a link to somebody or when they've come in or follow up with them to get their review and get it left on the site. But you really want to push to get more reviews because Google puts a lot of ranking and a lot of precedence on those. And then last but not least is you want to show Google that you have reasonable traffic to your website. So if your website is out there and nobody ever comes to it, Google's going to say, well, wait a minute, they must not be that relevant if in fact there's nothing on my people are not going to their website. Now, when I say reasonable traffic for a dental practice, I would target to say, are you getting 200 to 500 people a month coming to your site? Obviously, if you can have more people coming to your site, that's all going to help. But it doesn't have to be, 100,000 people coming to your site. It just needs to be reasonable traffic. And Google is going to look at all of those 4 things to determine who should be ranked on these in these areas. And also, of course, you would want to have stuff on your website related to teeth whitening or cosmetic dentistry or whatever, if that's what it is that you're going to be promoting. But here that would be the case is for sure is you would want to have those other 4 things. So let's go back and review those real quick. So you want to complete your Google business listing. You want to have consistent local citations and directory listings. You want to get a lot of Google reviews, and you want to have decent traffic and clicks to your website. If you can focus on those 4 things, then you have a real opportunity, and again, for different keywords. So could be different things that you want to be ranked for. But those are the things that will help you get into that top 3 of that local listing. And that's really the best thing that you can do because you're not paying for those results. And those are going to get the best results for your business. We've seen huge jumps in business when we get people into the top 3. There are other strategies for organic and paid that we're not going to be able to talk about today just in the interest of time. But that's why I focused on local because local is really the most important one that we want to be focusing on. Okay, so let's see here. Since I can't move the slide, let's move this way and move forward. If there are any questions on this, I believe you can put something in the chat and I'll try and answer them if I see them. But hopefully this is all making sense and it gives you kind of a roadmap for how to get your Google part of things together. The second thing that we want to talk about is more of the outbound strategy. So it's great that we're being found when people are searching for us, but how do we get in front of people that may not have ever heard of our practice or have any experience with us? And how do we get new patients and new clients in the door, even if they're not necessarily looking for us or what we do? So again, there's a number of ways to do this. I'm going to share one that we've used quite effectively, and it's using Facebook to get new leads. So Facebook has a paid ad campaign program called lead generation. And I'll show you what that means here in just a minute, but it's not a Facebook offer. Some of you may have worked with Facebook offers where you put an offer or like a coupon up on your Facebook page and people can claim the offer. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a paid easy for me to say, paid ad campaign that has an objective and a focus to generate leads. And the way that it works is that you want to come up with some sort of what I call irresistible limited time service offering. So it could be, I'm going to do teeth whitening for $20 for this month or whatever, some intro service, something that you think would truly be irresistible. And you only want to make it available for a limited time so people feel like there is some scarcity and that if they don't take some action and follow through, that they'll miss out. So you want to create the fear of missing out, but at the same time, you want to give them some sort of interesting, irresistible offer. And again, I'll show you an example of this here in just a minute. Then what happens is when somebody is in Facebook and they see your offer, what happens is if they click the button on your ad, a little form pops up. And they never leave Facebook. They don't go to your website. They don't go anywhere else. It's a little form that pops up right on Facebook. And it allows them, and it's pre-filled. That's the other beauty of it. It's pre-filled with their name and phone number and email address because it comes right from Facebook. And then they have to go through and say, yes, we want to submit that. And when that happens, that lead comes directly to you. So now you know that John Smith has signed up to get this teeth whitening offer and to move forward. And then once that happens, then you can follow up, qualify them, and follow up, call them by email or email them, qualify them, and see if they really are a good fit and schedule the appointment. So there is some work that has to go on afterwards in a sense that there is some follow-up that needs to occur, but it's a really great way to get somebody warm into the system. So I was going to show you an example here of a campaign like that we did with another client that was actually a vet. And I'm going to show you a vet example here, mainly because other dentists don't necessarily want to share what they're doing. So I just tried to pick something here that was a little more agnostic. And this was a client that we have called Edinburgh Animal Hospital. They're out in Virginia. And what we did is we said, all right, let's come up with a irresistible offer. And what they found was people really wanted to bring their animals in for a bath or what we called a spa day. But a lot of times, that was kind of a discretionary expense and people didn't want to spend a lot of money for that and so forth. So we created this offer called Spa Day, and we offered a special bath special for your dog or cat for just $20 for a very limited time. And all baths include a nail trimming, blah, blah, blah. Grab your spot now. Spa opens again on October 1st. We did this last year. And so the offer was a $20 spa day. This wasn't necessarily a big money maker for them, but again, this got new clients in the door that introduced them to their practice. They got introduced to their vets and their doctors, and then they would use this to actually get them into other services and to introduce them into the spa. Now, if somebody's in Facebook and they're scrolling through, what happens is they say, oh, good, I'm interested in this. They click sign up. What happens is this form pops up, like I talked about, where their name and their email and their phone number is pre-entered. So they don't have to do anything. What they just have to do is click the form, click next, and then we'll basically say, are you sure you want to do this, and confirmation and all that. And then when they hit next, the lead is submitted. And now Edinburgh Animal Hospital receives the lead of being associated with for the spa day. And then they would follow up and go from there. You also see here that this got a lot of social proof on it. So they got a lot of likes, a lot of comments, a lot of shares, a lot of people here. If you look at the comments, you'll see a lot of people, sharing it with their friends, talking about other ones, questions and so forth. So this created a lot of social engagement as well, and inherently created a lot of brand recognition for the practice going forward. And I don't want to get into a lot of geeky stuff, but if I go over here, this actually shows the ad that we were running for that. And they generated 168 leads in a little less than a month off of this. And I believe they realized, literally tens of thousands of dollars of extra revenue and extra clients and new patients in the door as a result of just this one campaign. So for dentists, again, I've done things with teeth whitening, certain cosmetic things, something that's going to be intriguing to people that they wouldn't necessarily, it's discretionary maybe, but they want to do something about it. They're intrigued about it. That type of thing would be an irresistible offer that we would then want to use to then get somebody back in the door and doing those things there. So obviously here we're getting in front of them. We're not waiting for them to come to us. And this is one example of an outbound offer using Facebook. So, okay, this is nice. Keeps wanting to go back to the beginning. So the bottom line is just like we said here, you promote the offer, you sign up on Facebook, you follow up, qualify, and schedule the appointment, and then go from there. Everything is following up from there, and you get the leads and go that way. So hopefully this has been, I know we've covered a lot of ground here really quickly. We're a bit out of time. I think we've almost hit the 30-minute mark. But hopefully this gives you some ideas of some things you can do right now to get more leads, whether that's through your search or through outbound on Facebook. Again, you're going to want to test things. Things don't always work the first time. The spa day, like for example, we did some other irresistible offers that didn't work as well as a spa day. So you can't be disappointed that everything doesn't necessarily work right out of the bat, but you keep testing and you keep using these strategies and you will get winners. And you will get people to, really, really start to get more awareness and brand visibility of your practice and more things of what you're doing. So let's see here. All right, I'm going to try and turn things back over to Alan here. Let's see if this works.
Tom, thank you very much for that. It was great and loved having you do this webinar for us. Great material. Everybody, as you know, this is ePractice Manager. We have an entire array of services. Our goal has been to make practice management easily accessible and available to a multitude of people out there who wish to use it either on a very, very small or a very extensive scale. We have free training online for all your employees. We have an entire personnel management support system that you can use. These are available either on demand or through a subscription. We have a video or two here I'll show you. They're very short, but I'd like you to see these. This is our about a 30-second video on our HR toolbox. Let's watch this.
Welcome to ePractice Manager's HR Toolbox, streamlining personnel management for your practice. In the HR Toolbox, you can seamlessly onboard new employees, schedule and complete performance reviews, submit leave requests and manage PTO entitlements, assign tasks and create checklists, submit peer-to-peer employee feedback, and track it all on your digital practice calendar. Even sync with your Google, Outlook, or iCalendar. With ePractice Manager's HR Toolbox, you can now simplify and unburden your office from the day-to-day tasks connected with staff management. Subscribe today.
Great. There you have our HR Toolbox, or a little bit of a sample of what it is. I must tell you that was developed in coordination and hands-on work with office managers and HR people in practices all over the country. And it is a wonderful and very, very easy to use tool. Here we have our interactive course library, and this video will give you a little bit of information on it.
Online interactive classroom, streamlining staff training for your practice. Onboard employees with our staff orientation course. Train your managers in HR and marketing. Build case acceptance in your practice. Learn the basics of efficient scheduling practices. Our online classes will keep your staff engaged throughout the learning experience with videos, graphics, interactions, and quizzes. Register today to purchase a course or try a free sample.
There you go, folks. Okay, there's a great deal more than that. If you want to try any of these things out, you can certainly do that. Go to epracticemanager.com/try it for free and try it out. We've got some great material. You or your staff can use it, and it'll give you a feel for the types of resources we have available. You'll see my contact information and Tom's as well. And please feel free to reach out, email, or contact us directly. And look forward to speaking with any of you who'd like to find out more. Take care.
Thanks, Alan. I'll go ahead and put up our contact information here just so you have it. And yeah, feel free to drop me an email if you have any questions on some of the stuff we talked about today. And Alan's email is there as well. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Hopefully you found it valuable. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.